Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our parent and student SLC information meeting. If you guys have any questions throughout the entire meeting that we have, just make sure to type them down in the chat and we'll answer them towards the end of our presentation when we have a designated time for our questions. So we're going to go ahead and start.
Okay, so to start us off, we're going to talk about different dress codes that are required when we're at SLC. So the first dress code is the HOSA official uniform. For boys, this is a navy blue or black two-piece suit with a white button-down collared shirt, with a maroon or navy tie, a black or blue belt which must match shoes, and then the recommended black or blue dress shoes. One thing to note is that brown shoes are not allowed. For girls, the official uniform would be a black or navy blue pants or knee-length skirt with a matching black or navy blue blazer. Please make sure that both these items match. A white button-down collared shirt, and then closed-toe shoes, which can either be heels or flats. If you do choose to wear heels, make sure that it's a small heel and that you're not wearing too large of a heel. If you wear the official uniform when you're supposed to, which is during competitions and ceremonies, you will gain points. But if you don't wear the correct uniform or you wear the incorrect uniform, you will lose points. Also, if you haven't bought an official uniform yet, please buy a navy blue set because this is what you will be wearing to ILC if you make it.
Hey, real quick on the heels too, by the way, in the past, the girls have had a hard time with heels. So just be aware that if you get blisters, you need to bring Band-Aids with you. You need to have as close to flats as possible because otherwise you're going to get hurt feet and hurt heels.
So our next uniform is the HOSA business attire. For boys, this is a polo shirt or dress shirt with khakis, a belt that matches shoes, and then business shoes or boat shoes. For girls, this can either be a formal dress with blazer or khakis, a belt that matches shoes, a polo shirt, blouse, or dress shirt with closed-toed shoes, which can be either heels or flats. Again, with the heels, make sure they're not too big. And like Coach said, if you do wear heels, make sure that you're prepared for any blisters. And you can't wear any peep-toed shoes or sandals. They have to be closed-toed. And the business attire is what you will be wearing to workshops around SLC. Then we have HOSA casual attire, which for boys and girls is the Beige Alliance HOSA t-shirt from this year with clean jeans or khakis. By clean jeans, we mean jeans that are not ripped or folded. And with this, you would wear tennis shoes or closed-toed shoes. This is what you'll be wearing to the dance or around the hotel when there aren't any events going on. And you'll also wear this when you arrive to the hotel on Wednesday evening, and most likely what you'll be wearing when we leave on Saturday afternoon. You will be checked by your HOSA group leader, so make sure that you have the correct attire packed. And then just some other details. HOSA is very, very strict on dress code, and they will stop you on multiple occasions if you have on the wrong things. For most events, when you wear the proper dress code, you will gain points, and if you don't wear the proper dress code, you will lose points. There are a few times during SLC when you can walk around the hotel with your friends, and during this time, you can wear whatever you would wear to school on a regular basis, but you have to make sure to follow the school dress code. Also, something to note is that you should pack appropriate PJs, which follow school dress code, because if there is an emergency at night, this is what you would come out wearing, but shorts and a t-shirt are fine for this.
So now we're going to talk about the packing list. So this is really big, but please do not overpack. You get one carry-on suitcase and one carry-on bag. You may bring a special bag for your suit or blazer, and please do not pack any extracurricular activities such as gaming stations or sport equipment. And you can bring anything you need, such as sweatshirt, headphones, and a recommended amount of money we want you guys to bring is $100 to $120, but you are welcome to bring more. And please do not bring anything you wouldn't be allowed to bring to school. This is just another thing, but the food court is going to close around 4 to 5. You may Uber eat, but it has to be delivered to the lobby and not your hotel room, and it must be picked up with another person.
Okay, so this is an important section, so I advise that you pay attention to these rules. because there will be serious consequences if they are broken. So, number one, once you arrive in the hotel, you cannot step foot on concrete until we leave or you are picked up Saturday afternoon. Next, girls cannot be in boys' rooms and boys cannot be in girls' rooms. While this may be obvious, we are reiterating it. The advisors will be checking randomly in your rooms. Lastly, so the curfew is 11:30 p.m. this year, meaning by 11:29, everyone has to be in their designated hotel rooms. The advisors or chaperones usually do a check at the end of the day, and they do have a way of finding out whether you left your room after 11:30. And anytime you are outside your room, please make sure you have your HOSA badge on you. This will be given to you when we arrive on Wednesday. Also, keep in mind that there are other guests in the hotel, so keep your volume low and make sure you're respectful towards everyone.
All right, now we're going to go over some of the consequences of if anybody breaks these rules. All of the ones that we have listed below right now would result in a verbal warning. One of the main ones on here is not replying to your chaperone or officer on the GroupMe. We'll be making small groups in GroupMe just a little bit later, not right now, just to make communication a little bit easier. And it's really important just to stay active on that. Keep checking for updates that any of the officers or chaperones sends. Just if anything important that they have to send out, just keep liking their message, keep replying to them, just to make sure to stay active on that. And a lot of these other rules are just make sure you're being respectful to everybody that's going on, not being loud at night, just not make sure you're not being late to curfew. Everybody wants to have a good time. Just remember that there are other guests at the hotel too. Just make sure you're not too loud, especially inside of your rooms. Hopefully this will not have to happen, but these actions would result in your parents having to pick you up from the hotel, stepping outside of the hotel onto the concrete, going into the rooms of an opposite gender, being late to curfew, any noise complaints, or pretty much anything that coach or early that deems that is worthy of having your parents coming to pick you up. So just make sure your parents wouldn't really like to drive 1 hour to come pick you up. So just make sure, just have fun, have a good time. Just make sure you're being smart about what decisions you make. Here's a very brief summary about what we'll be doing each day, starting off with Wednesday night when we go there. Everybody should arrive to the hotel no later than 8 p.m. On Thursday, most of the round one and testing events will take place, followed by the opening session at night. At Friday will be all the second round events or any events that weren't on Thursday. And this will also be the day where the recognition events, this will also be the day where many healthcare related workshops will be available, and we require everyone has to attend at least 4 of them. The recognition session will be in the evening, which is where all the recognition event winners will be announced. And the dance, game night, karaoke will be after this. And then lastly, on Saturday, we'll clean out of all of our rooms and have our closing and award session, which will finish at 12 o'clock. And your parents will have to pick you up by 12:30 p.m. from the hotel on Saturday afternoon. And now we're just going to go over any event materials, things that you should bring for your event. Obviously, it's different for everyone, but if you go to your event guidelines and scroll towards the end, you'll see a box that said competitors must provide in a list, like a checklist of things that you should have. Just make sure you have every single one of the things on there. A lot of them will be like pencils, erasers for testing events, anything you may need to study, like a textbook, you should definitely bring too. And then all posters and projects for all events that have one of those. Those are pretty much the main important things that you should have. You'll also need to bring a copy of your event guidelines. For team events, you should only bring 1 copy. Just make sure you have that printed out beforehand, since there won't be any printers available for you at the hotel. And then lastly,
Hey, I'm sorry, FYI, they aren't requiring guidelines this year.
okay.
So you don't actually have to worry about bringing guidelines this year.
Oh, okay.
I learned that in January, so sorry.
So yeah, you don't need to bring your guidelines. You don't have to worry about that. And then the last thing everybody should bring is your photo ID. Everybody needs one in order to compete. And this can include like your driver's license, permit, the school ID that the school gives you, or any passport or government issued ID. All of those would be included in a photo ID.
So now we're going to talk about the attitude you're going to show at SLC. So please come with a positive attitude no matter what your results are, and make sure you show your support to the other members. You're going to be representing Alliance, Georgia HOSA, your parents, and please make sure if someone's not behaving properly, you are meant to set that good example. So we show our school spirit at SLC. So SLC is the time to be loud and proud of your school. And during those opening ceremonies, that's when you get to cheer. Yes, just remember AAI HOSA Pride. And this is, I think if you guys have been paying attention on our Slack, we've been announcing that we're going to have a Dress for Success HOSA edition. We're going to talk about that. So March 2nd, this is going to be required for all SLC attendees, and you're going to have to dress up in your HOSA official uniform. The pictures are on the right, and then you have to go see Coach or Mr. Eardley. And if you are buying a new suit, we do prefer that you just go ahead and get navy. And it's not necessary if you already have black.
All right, so communication is key. Like we mentioned before, a lot of our like abrupt meetings or anything that Coach and Early need to let you guys know is going to be on GroupMe. So make sure you have GroupMe downloaded if you don't have it done already, and make sure those notifications are turned on because everyone is expected to respond promptly. Also, we mentioned the HOSA groups earlier. We will be making those GroupMes later on, but there will be a chaperone and or an officer assigned to that group, and you're expected to listen to whatever they say, just like you would listen to any of the advisors. Also, in the previous years, they've put the schedule as far as the competitions and the round 1 and round 2 testing on the Georgia HOSA app. So I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing again this year. So go ahead and download the Georgia HOSA app just so you're ready when they do put the schedule on there.
So just some reminders. The second payment for SLC, which is the $125 on My Payments Plus, is due this Friday, February 25th. We will not be accepting this late, so make sure that you go ahead and pay that before the deadline. The healthcare issues exam is tomorrow, February 24th after school. The schedule is on Slack. There are 2 different rooms that people are testing in, so make sure that you know which room you're supposed to go in tomorrow after school. SLC will be March 9th to 12th. Like we said previously, the HOSA Dress for Success is on March 2nd. This is required for all SLC attendees, and you will have to dress up in your HOSA official uniform. And then the SLC permission packet is also due this Friday, February 25th. Make sure to get that signed and turned in to Coach in Mr. Eardley's room.
Well, and while they're doing the whole question things, while anybody's typing questions, let me just talk about a couple of things, kind of elaborate on what they said. So they're going to really crack down on having your badge this year. In the past, they've caught kids just wandering around, and they obviously think that we're pretty dumb because they'll say, "What's your name?" and then they'll give them a completely different name. What they're going to do is escort you to the headquarters of where everything's at, and they will call your advisor. And so that is why it's important to have your badge at all times, because you don't want us coming down to collect you. As far as the GroupMe goes, again, that is a very, very important way we communicate. I will be in all the groups. I'm going to put Miss Akins in all the groups. Miss Akins is kind of acting as me. I'll be working, but I still want to know what's going on. With that being said, when you are spoken to by a chaperone, advisor, whatever, you better respond. It's just really important. When you go to the food court, you let your chaperone know you're going to the food court. You let your chaperone know you're coming back. It's always a 2-person rule. You must have 2 people when you're going somewhere, unless you're going to your event in a hotel. And you could have your friend escort you to that as well. But that GroupMe is definitely important. Please know the officers are an extension of myself and Mr. Eardley. If they say something, that is what is supposed to happen because they speak for us. They know what we expect, and sometimes we're the one that's communicating with them and telling them. So at times we may call a meeting, and so you need to When we call a meeting, you need to respond, heart it, and then you need to get to where you're supposed to be. So I don't want to hear anybody questioning any of the officers or back talking any of the officers. So Mayhole mentioned the verbal problems. If you are a constant problem, we'll send you home for that too. So you may get a verbal warning, but then after that, we're just going to send you home because we don't have time for that. So you need to make sure that you don't get a lot of verbal warnings. It's very embarrassing for your parents to have to come get you. And yes, we have sent people home. And at 11, 12 o'clock at night. So we don't care what time of day it is. As far as the clean room, guys, again, you're representing our school, your parents. So when you clear out of your hotel room, your trash should be in the trash can. Your towels should be in a pile on the bathroom floor. You need to collect a couple of dollars from each person so you can leave a tip for the maid. Try to have everything picked up. And please collect all your belongings. You would be surprised how many blazers and socks and leftover clothes that we find in these rooms. But show some respect and clean up after yourself. So do you guys want to go ahead and hit these questions?
Hey, Coach.
Yes.
One more thing in reference to the hotel room is if they do any damage, they are responsible for the damage.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Just to let you know, a few years ago when I did this at Lambert, we actually had some young men damage something in their hotel room, and they were held responsible and did have to pay for that damage. So again, the hotel room is an extension of your home, and I know your parents went and let your home get tore up, so don't go tearing up someone else's home.
So the HOSA student participation form, that's an online form. We'll send that out. I can send that out on Slack just to make sure in the competitions channel. I'm not sure if we've already sent it already. I think we did. But I can send that out again. It's an online link. I'll make sure to send that out. So just check on Slack after this meeting and it'll be on there.
Yeah, so for the photo ID, you only have to bring one of those options. You do not have to bring all of them.
I also have a form for the photo ID. So like if we need to get your picture to verify it's you, we can do that. And just come see me if you have any issues with your ID. That's real important.
Does anyone have any more questions? Because now is the time to ask.
Yes, it has to be a school ID from your current year. So the beginning of this year is fine.
Does everybody understand the whole dropping off and picking up business? We changed it up this year. So when we used to go on Thursday in the past, it was an absolute nightmare. And so instead of the transportation, now we're just picking up the extra room because we can register them early. And so they can actually get up in the morning, be relaxed, get some breakfast, and go to their event. It's a very chaotic scene on Thursday mornings because every school that's coming from the state of Georgia is there Thursday morning. So this is going to be really super helpful. So parents, you saw that there was a transportation form in that packet. they are not going by charter bus. You would bring them down again by 8 o'clock. But if you're going to be later, just let us know. Just a heads up, because maybe their traffic might be bad. And then yes, you are going to be picked up again on Saturday. And Akash, I see your question. Are we allowed to carpool? And the answer is yes. But on that transportation form, you need to put what parent you're riding in. And notice I say parent. Students are not allowed to drive themselves down to the event or be picked up by other students. If you're going to leave early, some of you have SAT on Saturday. If you're going to leave early, whether you're leaving Friday night or Saturday morning, what you must do is you must let me or Mr. Erdley know when you're going to be picked up. When your parent comes to get you, you will get a selfie with you and your parent showing that you are leaving with your parent, so we know that you are leaving with the appropriate person. I'll answer the medical emergency one. I'm not sure what the attendance link. Oh, I guess the QR code is what he's talking about. So what about medical emergencies? Well, the cool thing is that we are at a healthcare fair, like a big conference. So there is every kind of healthcare professional there on the planet. So here's what happens. You have filled out a form for your student telling us anything that we need to know about. That form is, of course, protected by myself and Mr. Erdley. And if anything happens, you will be notified immediately. But please note, your child is in really good hands medically, because we got every medical professional down there you could possibly imagine. So if you have any other questions about that, just, you can email me or Mr. Erdley, and we'll be glad to answer any more questions about that.
Yes, so your parents have to drop you to SLC on Wednesday and from SLC Saturday.
Again, you have to be dropped off by 8 o'clock. If you're going to be late, let us know. You must be picked up by 12:30.
If you haven't already scanned the attendance form, please go ahead and do so. And if there are any last-minute questions, go ahead and ask them. $8 p.m. You need to be there Wednesday, 8 p.m. So if there aren't any more questions, we're going to go ahead and end the meeting. Just some last-minute reminders. Payment is due on Friday, and there are no exceptions. And the permission slip has to be turned in to coach or early by Friday as well. So